Yeah. Hair flip, yeah, I'm a badass bitch. I don't like it. Hair flip, yeah. Oh my god. So you guys should be happy. Oh my goodness. Hair flip. But anyways, hair flip. And hair flipping on the toes. Hi.
Hello everyone, and welcome back to your boy, The Sean Davey Way Show. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe on the way in. Tap that bell if you would like to be notified of all of our future content. Today, I bring you a surviving. This surviving is on surviving Hollywood bathtub rituals. I think it was a good idea to do this video because rest in peace to Aaron Carter. He just recently passed away, and what do you know? It was in a bathtub, like many other celebrities. And not just bathtubs, there have been a lot of celebrities that have passed away just in the bathroom. So, is that a coincidence, or is it just normal, or is there something sinister going on with these celebrities that just so happen to pass away near or in the bathroom? Let's do some research. We're not just going to talk about that. We're going to talk about other things that can make a little bit more sense into why a lot of people think the occult or the Illuminati have a lot to do with these celebrities passing away. So without holding you any further, let's jump right into this surviving. The Illuminati, you hear a lot about rituals, sacrifice, and on and so forth. There are ritual baths, and if you are a Christian or not a Christian, but just heard of Christianity, you've heard of baptisms and things in that nature which involve water. Sometimes it's done in like a lake or an ocean or a bathtub like source. Each baptism has a meaning behind it due to the religion. So multiple religions have baptisms or things associated with baptism, meaning it looks like one, but they just don't call it one. And it's the same thing with the Illuminati. Everything is backwards when it comes to 666 and Satan-like things. So if in Christianity you are given a baptism which is for purifying and purification, and the Illuminati, they have their own baptisms as well. Again, they just don't call them that. So let's get into the definition of ritual bath. Ritual bath, religious or magic ceremony involving the use of water to immerse or anoint a subject's body. The many forms of baptism, ranging from total submersion to a symbolic sprinkling, indicate how certain ritual baths can vary in form even while retaining the same purificational meaning. Ritual baths may be taken while the subject is dressed or nude, in churches or other buildings, in rivers, streams, or ponds. But often the bath and the locus have mutually reinforcing symbolic meanings. With a ritual bath, it can be religious or a magic ceremony. With religion, that's called a baptism, but all religions have their own names for what they call it. And in the Illuminati, it's usually a magic ceremony because they deal in magic, black magic, and all type of other things. So in religious sense, they use water. In the Illuminati, they use blood. So instead of being baptized in water, they are baptizing people in blood. It's a dark ceremony, just like a baptism is a light ceremony. So let's get into a quick clip of allegedly, God rest his soul, rest in peace to DMX, having to take a bath full of goat blood, I believe, to push his career and be famous.
I mean, surely there's nobody out there that doesn't think that the Travis Scott concert.
I couldn't post the actual clip of DMX talking about being bathed in blood and whatnot before he became famous. He was known, but he wasn't as big as he became until after said thing. So I will post that clip on my IG at Sean Davey Way Show at IG, so you can see that clip of him discussing it. Due to copyright, I could not put it on here, but I will put it on my IG. You do see in the clip that this man is responding on TikTok to a person stating that DMX bathed in blood before becoming extremely famous. So where there's smoke, there's fire. When you hear these conspiracies, not everything you hear is true, but a lot of it has credibility behind it. So we're going to keep pushing with the conspiracy narrative since there's been so many people coming over recently with all of these conspiracies. Let's jump into real ones. We will start with bathtub rituals. Again, there's been a lot of celebrities, especially, that have passed away in bathtubs and bathrooms. So most conspiracists feel that that is not a coincidence, that it definitely has a meaning behind it, that it's ritualistic, and that these things are done deliberately for a purpose. The elite, it seems more so of a ritualistic thing to pass someone on to bring another up, where there's death, there's birth. So for every life we lose, a new life is gained type of situation. So there's many, many, many different descriptions behind these rituals. It's just more so of what you believe in is how people judge them. So let's get into some celebrities that have passed away in bathrooms and bathtubs. The nation is under a major shock, as the first female superstar of Bollywood, Suri Devi, 54, passed away on Saturday night. The actress was hale, hearty, and happy, and was in Dubai for a family wedding. The tests have been conducted and her body is handed over to her family as per the forensic reports. She accidentally drowned in her hotel room bathtub after losing her consciousness. While many of us would think that a bathtub death is a very uncommon way of dying, statistics, however, speak otherwise. As reported in the federal mortality data in 2006 in the US, at least one American dies in a hot tub, bathtub, or spa, as most of them are high on drugs or alcohol. In Japan, over 19,000 people died due to bath-related tragedies. Let's get into some of those tragedies. Whitney Houston. American pop icon Whitney Houston was found dead at Beverly Hilton in Beverly Hills, California in 2012. She was found face down in a bathtub in the hotel suite. The official report stated that she had accidentally drowned in the bathtub with heart disease and an overdose of Shane use listed as contributing factors to her death. Bobbi Kristina. This one is surely cryptic. Bobby Brown and Whitney Houston's 22-year-old daughter died almost the same fashion as her late pop star mother, Whitney Houston. She was found unconscious with her face down in a bathtub on January 31st, 2015. Following nearly 6 months in a coma, she was pronounced dead while in hospice care on July 26, 2015. Side note, many feel that Whitney Houston was definitely given to the dark world, if you will, a dark leaving here, that the elite had everything to do with her passing. Again, her hotel suite was right underneath Clive Davis, that was throwing a Grammy party at that time. And even when it was announced that Whitney Houston had passed away, Clive Davis still wanted his partygoers to continue partying, although his protege had just passed away. Clive Davis's words is that he wanted everyone to keep partying because that's what Whitney would want. That couldn't be further from the truth. It's not just eerie that this woman is right underneath this hotel room. So we're basically partying on top of someone that had passed away. And it wasn't a party after the knowledge of Whitney's passing. They were partying literally while that woman was passed away, face down in that bathtub downstairs, and continued to party when the news had broke at what happened. The point of these type of rituals are more so of energy. They believe in energy, magic, Wicca, whatever you want to say. Wicca is not an evil thing, but it can be used in that way. No different than voodoo. Voodoo did not start as a bad thing. People kind of turned it into something dark. So with the partygoers partying over Whitney Houston's corpse, basically, they're using that energy. The people of the elite that are there, people allegedly like Clive Davis and others, are using that as out with the old, in with the new. With every birth, there is a death. Everyone that is born dies. So it's the same thing with, again, energy. They're using the energy of Whitney Houston's death to push up a new person. Who that new person is that the elite was bringing in the fold as the replacement for Whitney Houston will be none other than Jennifer Hudson. Davis went on a campaign with Jennifer Hudson after Whitney's passing to basically announce to everyone that she is the new Whitney. We have gotten rid of the old due to allegedly our ritual sacrificing, and now we have our new queen, and the new queen would be Jennifer Hudson. Then comes Bobbi Kristina. When Brandy and Monica were sitting there having a conversation with Clive Davis before Whitney Houston passed away, Whitney walked up wet, and she was just in the swimming pool with Bobbi Kristina. So she stated why her hair was wet is because she had just got done swimming. That same day, she ended up passing away. So with Brandy and Monica being symbolic for when Whitney Houston passed Brandy the note, and why Brandy won't ever share that with anyone, because again, these people know what's going on in Hollywood. Whitney Houston was a thoroughbred. So she knew a lot of information and what was going on behind the scenes. So I'm assuming Whitney felt a certain energy, a certain presence. She did not like it. So I feel that she was reaching out to someone that she felt that she could trust, not knowing that some people are already down with this. They're okay with it. They moved on from it. They're just waiting for it basically to happen. So when it's time to do the ritual to get rid of Whitney, it is to ascend Jennifer Hudson. And when they got rid of Bobbi Kristina, it was to ascend Brandy and Monica. Again, with the elite, they're all about numbers and energy. That's the main thing of them. There's other contributions, but the main thing is energy, and energy by number and whatnot. So with the energy behind Whitney Houston being beloved, this huge songstress and pop star and whatnot, people aren't going to let Jennifer Hudson get to that place, especially while Whitney is still here. So it's like, we got to get rid of her in order for her to get to the next level. And Jennifer has paid her dues. If you remember back in the day, Jennifer lost basically all of her family, her mother, sister, nephew, a lot has been, with parentheses, sacrificed. So Jennifer has paid her dues. But when it comes to Whitney Houston, she had not. That's how the Illuminati allegedly works, the elite. So she didn't pay her dues. So that was her paying her dues. Everything you hear here is alleged. I have no actual proof behind these things. These are just opinions based off of the conspiracies that are already out there. Allegedly, Whitney was taken so that Jennifer could ascend, and Bobbi Kristina was taken so that Brandy and Monica could do the same thing, all underneath the umbrella of Clive Davis. Again, it is all alleged, but let's keep going. I'm gonna take a quick turn and jump into Michael Jackson, but it all comes full circle, so just bear with me for a moment here. How did Michael Jackson die? On June 25th, 2009, Michael Jackson died of a cardiac arrest at the age of 50 as a result of the deadly cocktail of sedatives and an anesthetic, propofol, which was administered by his physician, Conrad Murray. It was later concluded the death was a homicide, and Murray was charged with involuntary manslaughter in November 2011. Yet, the story of Michael Jackson's death has its root in the pop star's deteriorating health over the last 20 years of his life. Morning of June 25th. Michael Jackson's physician, Conrad Murray, administered the star a series of drugs over the course of the early hours to help him sleep. Concern was raised later when Michael failed to leave his room. The afternoon of June 25th. Murray found the star unresponsive and no longer breathing, though he claimed he still had a weak pulse. He attempted to revive Jackson, though statements have questioned his CPR technique and the fact he chose to do it on a soft bed rather than a hard surface. Questions also arose regarding the time it took Murray to get help. Notably, there was no landline in the residence, and Murray stated he didn't know the address well enough to call paramedics by mobile. As a result, 30 minutes passed before security at the North Carolwood Drive property eventually made the call to paramedics. Side note, I followed the Michael Jackson and Conrad Murray case pretty closely, and from what I gathered, allegedly, Conrad Murray was set up from jump. Let's break this down quick before we jump back into bathtub rituals. Conrad Murray was hired by the touring company for This Is It, Michael Jackson's last tour. Hired Conrad to be Michael Jackson's primary doctor while on tour. They set him up, and here's how. The touring company had a $1 billion insurance policy on Michael Jackson and the This Is It tour. They knew from jump that Michael Jackson was not physically or mentally strong enough to complete that tour. He was only supposed to do a selected amount of dates, which was 10 pretty much, and then it doubled to almost tripling. So again, they knew Michael was never going to finish that tour. That's why it's not a coincidence that Michael Jackson passed away before doing any of the tour dates. Before the tour even started, he passed away. During the trial, it came out that there were behind the scenes conversation with men on the stand and the lawyer stating to them that there was conversations of ending Michael Jackson's life. Can you confirm that? And the person stated from the touring company that they cannot confirm nor deny that there was conversations to end Michael Jackson's life so that they could collect the insurance policy before Michael even went on tour. This was literally in the trial. Go back and watch the trials of Michael Jackson and Conrad Murray, and you can see that Conrad was set up. How Conrad was set up is because the medication that Conrad was giving Michael Jackson, you have to be a doctor basically in order, you have to have a certain clearance in order to get that type of anesthetic that Conrad was giving Michael. So with Michael overdosing on that medication, there's nobody to blame but Conrad. Hence Conrad being set up. They knew that that medication was dangerous, especially of the state Michael Jackson's body was in. He was underweight, basically anorexic because he rarely ever ate anything. So you don't give a med that powerful unless needed to a person with this type of conditioning, with their body being in this type of condition. So they knew eventually that it would hurt Michael, that it would end Michael. And I think that somebody put a bad dosage of that medication together, concocted that a bad concoction, so that Conrad could give it to Michael. So when Conrad gave it to Michael, Michael passed away. And the person that set Conrad up knew that that would happen. And who better than this black doctor to be the fall guy? Again, the tour hired him, but they did not protect him. They knew that Conrad was giving Michael that anesthetic and they did nothing about it. They wanted that so that, again, they could set him up. Now, I said all that so that we can circle back. Earlier in this article and in the trial, they stated that they were questioning Conrad Murray's technique when it came to trying to resuscitate Michael Jackson with CPR. Because he did it on a soft bed, which is not going to help giving CPR. You need a hard surface, which Conrad as a doctor, why would he not know that? Here's the tea. Michael Jackson was not in that bed. Allegedly, Michael Jackson died where a lot of other people passed away, which is the bathroom. I believe Conrad put Michael back in the bed after finding him unresponsive in the bathroom. Now let's get into this article that states that Michael Jackson passed in the bathroom, not on a soft bed. Article from boldsky.com. Michael Jackson. The King of Pop was found dead the day before his This Is It tour was going to start. He was found dead in the bathroom due to an overdose of surgical anesthetic. There were multiple reports, even from Conrad Murray, allegedly in the beginning, that he found Michael Jackson in the bathroom, and that is where he tried to resuscitate him with CPR, meaning that he administered CPR correctly by doing it on a hard surface instead of a soft one like Michael Jackson's bed. Michael Jackson basically was sleeping on top of feathers. Why would you try to administer CPR there? That does not make any sense. At least pull him down to the floor of the bed and try to administer CPR. You can't do it correctly in the manner that Michael would have been in the bed. That's how, and Conrad is a doctor. Why would he not know that? Why would myself, Sean Davy Way, someone who isn't a doctor, telling a doctor how to do CPR. Like, that just sounds crazy, right? That's why I believe that Conrad was set up. I believe that someone else gave that concoction to Michael Jackson, meaning they switched out what Conrad would normally use. So the dosage that he had pre-set out, pre-administered, basically, waiting to administer, I should say, someone switched that. And Conrad gave it to Michael, and Michael never came out of the room. That's what alerted Conrad, because he's like, okay, well, Michael should be up by now. Why is he not coming out of his room? So for him to go inside of there and see Michael on the floor of the bathroom, allegedly, which makes me think that someone put a concoction there that Michael shouldn't have had, because something went wrong. Michael woke up and went to the bathroom because I believe he knew something was wrong with him, and ended up losing consciousness again in the bathroom where allegedly Conrad Murray found him. They railroaded Conrad, and he unfortunately paid the price. Aaron Carter. More clues as to what may have contributed to Aaron Carter's tragic death are coming to light. Responding officers reportedly found multiple cans of compressed air in the singer's bathroom, where his body was discovered on Saturday, as well as in the bedroom of his Lancaster, California home. Law enforcement sources told TMZ on Monday. The outlet also reports that cops found prescription pill bottles at the scene. Inhalant abuse or huffing products like compressed air can cause permanent brain damage that can lead to irreversible neurological deficits, according to the American Addiction Centers. Huffing can also lead to seizures, coma, and cardiac death, even for first-timers using. Reports that Cleveland Clinic additionally replaced of oxygen in the lungs with toxic fumes from inhalants can result in asphyxiation. Carter, who died at age 34, first revealed his addiction to huffing during a 2019 episode of The Doctors. At the time, he claimed his late sister, Leslie Carter, was the one who introduced him to the habit. She fatally overdosed in 2012 at the age of 25. His quote, "It's something that I've kept secret from the whole world until now," he shared at the time, noting that he began to huff when he was about 16. Aaron said he didn't really touch it again until he was about 23, right after he competed on season 9 of Dancing with the Stars in 2009. Aaron's quote, "I started going to Staples and Office Depot and different places, buying it with cash so it wouldn't be reported on receipts or anything like that, so no one could trace me," he admitted. "I was huffing because I was really effing stupid and sad, but this is really no excuse. I was huffing because I am an addict." It is unclear whether Aaron was battling with an active addiction to huffing at the time of his death. However, TMZ reported last month that cops showed up to his house for a welfare check after fans watching his Instagram live became concerned he was huffing. Law enforcement sources told the outlet that they found no drugs at the scene and did not observe any criminal activity. Side note, again, with the police in California, I don't know, because the housekeeper, Aaron Carter's housekeeper, is the one who found him. The neighbors state that there were chilling screams of her finding him lifeless. She said that she went to the door, the bathroom door, because the dog was barking in distress. So she's like, clearly the dog needs to be let out. So she opened the door. When she opened the door, she found Aaron's lifeless body. After that, she called the police, and after she called the police, she went outside of the door and she left it locked, and she wouldn't let anybody in because she had already called police. So for her to be that freaked out, and I understand people freak out when they see people, that are no longer here. I get it. It's definitely an eerie feeling, a scary feeling to see a lifeless body. But at the same time, I feel that she saw more, because why was she in such distress? Again, I get people being in distress because of seeing a body, but it's more so of a shock that kind of goes away, especially once you start to talk to people about it. They kind of pull you back into reality. But how her reaction was, it sounds as if she's seen something that no one should see. type of situation. There was no note of him stating that he took his life or anything like that. His friends are even shocked because Aaron was supposed to be going to record in the studio next week, well, this week. So this is not a case of him taking his own life. This is not what this is. And police say that there's no foul play or anything like that. Again, I am very confused by the housekeeper's reaction. It's very understandable that a person's going to scream when they see a lifeless body, but again, that's just shock. And for her to be so distraught in how she was, I don't believe that it was just because he was dead. I believe it's because of more of what she saw. So let's get into his brother, Nick Carter, which I'm very confused because he is on tour with the Backstreet Boys in Europe. If that was my brother that passed away, I'm leaving immediately. I'm getting back here to the States so that I can see what's going on with my family. Clearly, Nick trying to make it seem that he's devastated. How are you devastated if you haven't even came here yet? Like, you're not here, you're not checking on things, you're not trying to make sure things are in order or anything like that. You're still overseas singing 90s to early 2000s songs. It's like, dude, they don't need you. Leave. Go check on your brother. That is 10 times more important, and making sure that he's buried properly and things like that. It seems, once again, as if Nick Carter does not care. But before we get into that, let's get into when Aaron Carter was on the show The Doctors and what he said. Fair use.
Point was right after my sister died. My brother, Nick, sending me pictures of Whitney Houston dead in the coffin. Saying R.I.P. to me. Thanks. Thanks for always listening, because you never...
Things to pay attention to. When Aaron's sister passed away, Aaron basically was huffing again. He was not doing it as much, but he was huffing again. When she passed, it got worse. And she also passed away from the same thing. So that's adding insult to injury. I'm sitting here devastated by something that took my sister, and I'm still doing the same thing that took my sister. So I can't imagine how hurt he was when she passed, because they were close. And not only were they close, they had a lot of things in common. And sometimes we have good things in common with people, and sometimes we have bad things in common with people. You know, you link up with people to do certain things. If your best friend doesn't huff or anything like that, then you're not going to hang out with your best friend and do those things. But if your best friend does, then again, that's where you are going to bond when it comes to doing things that are negative. So it's the same thing with him and his sister. They bonded over doing something that neither one of them should have been doing. So God rest both of their souls. So I, again, can only imagine how sad and terrified Aaron was at the same time, because it's like, well, she passed away from this and I am still doing it. I could definitely be next. And when not having a solid person in your corner to kind of help you out of that darkness, you just plummet further and further and further into it. Another thing that I feel that needs to be paid attention to is how Nick and Aaron's relationship, even with Aaron passing away, they still did not have a good relationship. So basically, until that man left this earth, he and his brother still had friction. Aaron getting photographs of Whitney Houston up close inside of her casket, and his brother sending him those pictures and saying, rest in peace to Aaron, not rest in peace to Whitney, but rest in peace to Aaron, was definitely subliminal, and it was a message. Basically, Nick was telling Aaron that he was next. This is going to be you one day, is what Nick was saying. It's like, who says that to their own brother, especially after losing your sister? Like, you already lost your sister, your father, you know, so many people. So who wants their brother to not be here? That is the energy that it was given. And that's why Nick was so heartbroken. With him bringing that up about Whitney Houston, he wasn't sitting there sad because Whitney passed. I'm sure, you know, he was sad about it, but it was more so of him being sad because his brother was telling him, like, you do what she does, so you are next type of situation, which is very, very, very hurtful coming from somebody that is supposed to love you unconditionally when you love them already unconditionally. There's no conditions to Aaron's love for Nick, but there's definitely conditions for Nick to love Aaron. So this is just a very tortured family. The Carter family is a devastating American story. It absolutely is. But I love you all. I hope you have enjoyed this video. We will be back with part 2 to break down the relationship with Nick and Aaron, and we will also get into other celebrities that have passed away in bathtubs or bathrooms. So until the next one, hit the like, hit the subscribe button. Bye.
True story on how me and David Spade met. I was at my weekly Illuminati meeting. I was sitting next to Beyonce and Jay-Z, and all of a sudden my boy Spade walked in right after Drake walked in. I was like, yo Drake, move your little bitch ass somewhere else. I gotta talk to Spade real quick. And then we burned 2 truckloads of money and did some devil prayers. I sacrificed 4 goats, 3 chickens, and 1 sheep. And then we just chopped it up, whatever. We was like, hey, be in this video, bitch. Then we went to catch and had some lobsters with chicken blood. I still have the t-shirt with the chicken blood on it.
We do consume each other's blood on occasion for ritual purposes. It is used for a reason, and it is controlled where it's like, let's shed a few drops of blood and each drink it. He's much more haphazard and hectic and chaotic, where he's willing to just like cut his chest open with broken glass and be like, take my soul, let me bleed on you. It doesn't not happen, let me tell you. Maybe not exactly like that, but a version of that has happened many times.
The White House with my family, and we were getting a tour, and Barack and Michelle and Sasha and Malia, nice. And it's me and Jada and the kids, and we're walking through the White House. And the night before, Jaden had said to me, Dad, I gotta ask the president about the aliens. I was like, Jaden, do not ask the president. So we get into the situation room, and Jaden says, excuse me, Mr. President. And I was like, hey, Barack, man, hey, listen, Jada. And Barack said, don't tell me. And in perfect form, like, this is why he's the president, he stopped and looked at Jaden and said, the aliens, right? And I was like, oh, shoot. And he said, okay, I can neither confirm nor deny the existence of extraterrestrials, but I can tell you, if there had been a top secret meeting, and if there would have had to have been a discussion about it, it would have taken place in this.